Zilla, if you're speaking, you're on mute. Geshe is ready now.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good morning, Tashtale everyone, those who are living across the countries. And before we start the actual session, I would like to make a quick request that if you are comfortable with opening up your video cameras, kindly keep your videos open and kindly put your microphone on mute so that to avoid any interruptions. Thank you. Thank you very much. Tibet House, Culture Center of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, New Delhi, is delighted to welcome you all to commemorate the 33rd Nobel Peace Prize Day celebration. And the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama in 1989 for advocating peaceful solutions based upon tolerance and mutual respect in order to preserve the historical and cultural heritage of Tibetan people. Therefore, keeping in this view of this gracious occasion, Tibet House has organized to undertake the ceremony of Bodhisattva pledge to be led by Venerable Geshe Dorji Damdul, our director, Tibet House, Culture Service, Holiness the Dalai Lama, New Delhi, for the long life and the swift fulfillment of the wishes of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. Thank you. And before we proceed to Venerable Geshe, I would like to make a quick announcement that Tibet House is happy to announce the launch of the 4th Nalanda batch 2023 to 24. The registration was opened yesterday on 9th of December 2022 and will remain open until 31st of March 2023. The teaching will commence on 8th of March 2023, and the duration of the teaching will be for 14 months from March 2023 to May 2024. The Nalanda Diploma course is suitable for all those who wish to acquire knowledge of key topics in Buddhism and deepen their understanding and practice of Dharma. And no prior knowledge of Buddhist philosophy is required in order to join, and only the willingness to learn is needed. And please note that monastics and students can avail of 75% scholarship on the course fee, while the participants from our previous courses, such as Nalanda Diploma Course Batch 1, Batch 2, percent scholarship on the course fees. And developers also encourage the participants of the prior and the current Nalanda courses to join this batch as well, as it is a wonderful opportunity to revise what has been learned earlier. And additionally, that many topics will be presented in a different way. And for the registration, the link and the other details about the courses is available in Tibet House website, www.tibethouse.in. I'll repeat, www.tibethouse.in. And if you have any further queries, and please send an email to nalandacourses@tibethouse.in. I'll type the registration link and the website and the email address in our chat box if you would like to know more about the Nalanda Diploma Course Batch 4. Thank you very much. And now I would like to request Venerable Geshe to kindly proceed with the program.
I can hear me, Bismillah. Okay, good. Thank you all of you. Thank you, Bismillah. And today is a very auspicious day. The day His Holiness the Dalai Lama is awarded Nobel Peace Prize. And this is the recognition of the virtue. This is recognition of the goodness for the world and the victory of the virtues, the victory of the goodness. And I'm speaking to you from Chen Sui Temple, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and we are here for a retreat, 7 verses on maintenance by Aranagarjuna. And this morning, we already took the Aspirational Bodhisattva vow with all the group here. And let us remember, one way is to celebrate in ways of creating picnics and so forth. Meanwhile, the best way by which to celebrate is remember the deeds, the activities, and the visions and the missions of His Holiness the Dalai Lama who appear on this earth for all of us. And with this in mind, today what we're doing, taking Aspirational Bodhisattva vow as a part of the Tibet program, where all of you are part of. This is in the one to fulfill the aspiration of His Holiness Dalai Lama, that finally the vision that His Holiness has for the world, the mission that His Holiness is undertaking, it always involves the encouraging the seed of compassion with all the beings, so the world can be a better place, where the Ukraine war can come to an end, where all the border tensions in the world will come to an end, where the domestic violence can come to an end, and then where the world can collectively work to get rid of COVID-19. So for this matter, the sense of the brotherhood, sisterhood, a sense of compassion, that is the key. And what are you doing collectively, what are you doing here now, is to inculcate this seed of compassion, the most sophisticated of which is Bodhichitta. So we are observing the taking Aspirational Bodhisattva vow today collectively. And in this in mind, before I go any further, I'd like to bring to your notice that here in this particular temple, Chen Sui Temple, because of in line with the principle of the temple, to give a sense of to give the environment a sense of the environment of quietude, silence. So there's no very sophisticated internet service here. So because of which it is bound to be that this connection may disappear. But Mr. Sonamla here, Singaporean Sonamla here, and then Tibet House staff and Deveshta who helped us so much, and the Tibet House IT staff and Kunjabla, and now here Tisumla, and they somehow they organize in such a way that they communicated with them amongst themselves and made it such a way that in case the internet is shut down, but the still voice is there, you are still going to hear it. This is how they somehow made it possible. I'm extremely grateful to the Singaporean Sonamla here and the Vishla in Delhi, and the Tenzin Kunjabla, Tenzin here, and then the Tibet IT staff, and all the Tibet IT staff. So all those people who are involved in this, and then from here in Malaysia we have Mr. Chingyabla, who assisted Sonamla in this. So therefore, even if the internet is shut down, still we're going to have the voice through the telephone. So because of this, let us all thank Mr. Sonamla, Dibesla, Mr. Chingyabla, and then the Tenzumla, then Tenzin Kunjabla, then all the IT staff, Tibet IT staff, in this connection. Okay, so with this in mind, so what we're doing is taking the Aspirational Bodhisattva vow, and as always, the setting proper motivation, which makes a whole difference. With this in mind, let us think of three things: refuge field, Bodhichitta field, and the purpose of this taking Aspirational Bodhisattva vow. And refuge field, visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, the space in front of us, as so loving, caring, and embracing. And for the Bodhichitta field, visualize your two grandparents, your children, and all of family members, and all other dear sentient beings, human beings, animals, insects, hungry ghosts, hell beings, God and goddesses, spirits, all the sentient beings living on a side around you. And here you are like the mother, and all others are like the children, that you extend so much love, affection, and care and embrace to all the different sentient beings. And the purpose of this practice, taking us in Bodhisattva vow, is to awaken the Buddha nature within each one of us. And the Buddha nature, in the form of the gold, when mixed with the mud, though the nature of the gold is to glow, but it doesn't glow for the reason that it's obscured by the metal defilements, the mud. Likewise, although each one of us, we have the seed of perfection, Buddha nature within us, that why it's not visible is because of being obscured by the metal defilements. And knowing that the mental defilements are of two kinds, the gross and subtle. The gross one referred to as afflictive obscurations, which consist of contaminant karmas, afflictions, and active seeds. And all these ways somehow revolve around the self-grasping ignorance. And the subtle one referred to as the cognitive obscurations, the presence which stops us from attaining full enlightenment or Buddhahood or infinite happiness. And somehow all these mental defilements they are connected with the self-grasping ignorance, either in the form of the offshoots of this self-grasping ignorance or the subtle stains in the form of cognitive obscurations. And given that this is what it is, the remedy that we are to reinforce here should be the wisdom to see the ultimate reality. And this wisdom must be complemented by the most beautiful mind of Bodhicitta, extremely courageous mind of Bodhicitta. And this Bodhicitta must in turn rest on the spirit of renunciation. So the desire to activate this Buddha nature, to activate this non-dual wisdom of the non-dual wisdom of emptiness of the Bodhisattvas within ourselves, we are doing this practice. So with this mind, imagine that you are leading this practice, and all beings are joining us, and all the Bodhisattvas are watching us. Okay, with this mind, there's some screen sharing from page 3. Okay. We'll say this together. And the most important thing is that, given that this is such an auspicious day, the Buddha himself very clearly indicated that observing the important events, the days of the important events of the awakened beings, one accumulates, the merit accumulation is far more, is going to be multiplied by millions of times. So given that this is the fact, the observing the great event of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the son, the Buddha of today's era, no doubt we accumulate so much merit, and the full purpose of accumulation of merit is, one, to carry on the torch of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, of the universal ethics, the compassion for all beings. So with this in mind, as we read these verses, and as we take the actual Aspirational Bodhisattva vow, let us make sure that our mind fully resonates. It fully resonates with what we are reading, what we are reflecting on, and what the aspirational Bodhisattva found that we're taking. So the meanings must be reflected, and where necessary, then the experiences must be invoked. With this mind, let's turn to page 3. And teach by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Bodhisattva, I pay homage. And teach by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Bodhisattva, I pay homage. And teach by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Bodhisattva, I pay homage. Sanje Joda Zoge Chonam La Chanjo Bado Dane Gyapso Che Dage Jinso Kebe Sonam Giri Sola Penjire Sanje Dubare Sho Sanje Joda Zoge Chonam La Chanjo Bado Dane Gyapso Che Dage Jinso Kebe Sonam Giri Sola Penjire Sanje Dubare Sho Sanje Joda Soge Chonam La Chanjo Pato Dane Gyapsuchi Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Dola Penjire Sanje Dubarai Sho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, by my accumulations for practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations for practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations for practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. The next line. In dependent origination, there is no ceasing nor rising, no annihilation, no separateness and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, a supreme of all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, which with the knowledge of all need here is seeking pacification to complete peace, which with the knowledge of paths causes those having migrated to achieve the aims of the world, and through the possession of which helps subdue and expand a variety of teachings. The one is transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism benefit sentient beings, that teach us to guard and protect us to you on the frustrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally transfer the purple noble light rays to you, the Buddha, and the frustrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I join in the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. We recite the mantra 3 times together while reflecting on meanings. So given that most of you are from another master's course, another Lama course, and another certificate course, so I expect you that you know the meaning. So let's try to recall the meaning as we recite the mantra. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Te Sham Data Gato Yavatat Esham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashamana Yeswa Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Te Sham Data Gato Yavatat Esham Chayo Nirodham Evam Vati Mahashamana Yeswa Om Ye Hetum Te Sham Data Gato Yavatat Esham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashamana Yeswa. All phenomena arise in causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of causes as well as taught by the great seer. profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear-eyed, and non-composite. Such is the natural as Dharma I've discovered. Finding no one can fathom his teaching in silence without return to words. Beyond utterance, thought, and expression is the perfectional wisdom, which is unborn, unseen, and has a nature of space. It is the object of apprehensive self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of 3 times of obeisance. The forces of the Buddha's teachings. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are self-nature. All phenomena are in nature, emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all people in misery's gloom. Instruction parting from the 4 attachments. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you don't have the view. Okay, page 14. Praise to Buddha Shakyamuni, Shakyamuni Buddha, page 14. Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. Yes, thank you. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the 4 destroyer, completely perfected, full awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completed, fully awakened one, endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate and make offerings to go for refuge. When O supreme amongst humans, you were born on this earth, we paced out 7 strides and said, I'm supreme in this world. To you who are wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies, formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain. Wisdom, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Just be like you, the 3 worlds are not. Incompatible wise one, to you I prostrate. A savior having great compassion, the founder having all understanding, filled of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the Tathagata I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path of sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, fully feel qualified with realizations, or devoted to the moral precepts, to you the Sangha I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, water bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, the conditioned things as such. Through this marriage, may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the 4 falls, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, but hurt by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Page 29, Heart Sutra. Thank you. The Professional Wisdom Sutra, Heart Sutra. I prostrate with Arya Tubal Gem. Thus did I hear at one time the Buddha was dwelling on Master Valcha's mountain in Rajgriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Buddha was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound illumination. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, Aravaduvitishvara, looked upon the very practice of the profound illumination of wisdom and beheld those 5 aggregates also as enduring inner nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, Aravaduvitishvara, how should any child of the lineage who wishes to practice the profound professional wisdom train? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, Aravaduvitishvara, said this to the Venerable Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound professional wisdom should look upon like this And repeatedly beholding those 5 degrees also as enduring inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composite factors, and consciousness empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composite factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, and no phenomenon. There's no I element and so on, up to including no mind element and no material consciousness element. There's no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there's no suffering, origination, cessation of path. There's no exalted wisdom, no attainment, also no non-attainment. Therefore, because there is no attainment, Bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the professional wisdom, a mind without obscuration and thus without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the endpoint of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the free times also manifestly completely awakened, transfer possible, perfect, complete enlightenment, the reliance on the professional wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the professional wisdom, a mantra of great knowledge, unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, a mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth since it is not false. A mantra of the professional wisdom is declared, Yatha Om Gade Gade Para Sam Gade Bodhi Swaham. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train in the profound professional wisdom like that. Then the Buddha arose in that concentration and commanded the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arabhadukeshvara. From the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice a profound professional wisdom, just as you indicated, even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Buddha having thus spoken, Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arabhadukeshvara, who surrounded the entirety along with the word of God. Okay, we'll recite the Harsut mantra 3 times together. Okay, 5 times together. As we recite this, just visualize that imagine that you are in Vajra's Peak, the place where the Harsut actually happened and taught. And imagine that Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Arabhadukeshvara, Shariputra, and all the monks, nuns, the Bodhisattvas, and the lay devotees, all are there. And then you, your 2 parents, your children, your family members, and all demon sentient beings, they are right in front of the Buddha Shakyamuni and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Arabhadukeshvara, and Shariputra. And imagine that the Buddha Shakyamuni is exhorting us thus. Don't remain in the tears of samsara. Come to the ultimate happiness by awakening the seed of perfection within you. And you hear what the compassionate Buddha Shakyamuni is exhorting us. You inform this to all the Dhyama sentient beings, and all sentient beings hearing what you are saying, they're so inspired, so they're happy to join you in this journey of cleansing the mind to follow the path. Gade Para Smade Bodhi Swaham, towards ultimate happiness and the infinite total fearlessness and the infinite happiness. With this mind, and imagine that you are leading this recitation and all beings are joining us. Parasamgate Bodhiswa. By the teachings of the three supreme jewels possessing power of truth, made in outer images be transformed, may they be non-existence, may they be pacified, may all negative forces opposed to the Dharma be completely pacified, may the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified, may we be separated from problems and conditions harmful to the Dharma, may all enjoyments be in accord with the Dharma, may auspices of perfect happiness pervade this place now. Okay, the next we will read the 8 verses for training the mind, page 35. Thank you. By Geshe Dorji Damdul. So this is a very important text. We see that many of our problems, there are two folds. One, for one group of people, it is your ego, and we are unaware of our ego. That ego and the self-referential ego and the anger issue. That with anger, what happens is that then you are not aware of that, and you have problem with your family members, you have problem with your other colleagues at the workplace, and so forth. So this is all related to the anger and the self-referential ego. In fact, ego and anger, these are not the signs of weakness, strength. These are the signs of weakness. Because we don't tend to be egoistic to your boss or to somebody who is high authority, or to your mother, to your father, who they love so much, who love you so much. You show anger towards them. You say that there's something wrong with you. You are the one who is making me unhappy. We cannot say this to our boss. With a clear indication, there's some anger issue within us. So this is something we need to take care of. Number one. Number two, some of us, we tend to have low self-esteem. This is another issue. So for this, we need to boost our self-confidence. We must gain conviction, confidence in your Buddha nature. This is the perfection within us. No matter, there's no one who is superior to in terms of your Buddha nature. We are all equal. There's nobody who is superior. By no means you are inferior. We must have conviction in the reality of the existence of the Buddha nature within us. That's very important. And nobody is perfect. Except for the Buddhas, nobody is perfect. So anybody who's around you, we should keep in mind that there's some problem. So when you feel so in the low, or you feel that the other superior and low, no, by no means you're inferior. We're all equal. It's because of this that the Buddha fought against the gender discrimination. The Buddha fought against the discrimination against any form of discrimination. It's because that Buddha is so convinced that everyone is equal. The Buddha nature-wise, there's no difference. We are all equal. With this point, we must maintain a sense of self-confidence, build a self-confidence, and take the responsibility that I will become Buddha for the benefit of all human sentient beings. I will remove my mental defilements. It has nothing to do with other people. I will remove my mental defilements, then my Buddha nature will become manifest. That is one with the greatest of the confidence. So with this, we must have confidence in your own potential, the Buddha nature. So for some people, one extreme is too much of ego and too much of anger issue. And oftentimes we are not aware of that. And the other extreme is we feel too low that there's a feeling of that I'm inferior. But no means you're inferior, we are all equal. There's nobody who is superior to in terms of your true nature. We are all equal. So with this in mind, this 8 verse of mind training, this is to tell us that how to finally we all want happiness, we don't want miseries and fears. What attracts fear is the self-referential ego, anger. And what pushes our happiness away is because of the lack of compassion towards others, because of lack of confidence, and a lack of confidence in your own potential. So we need to make sure that the ego is subsided and the confidence is built up. So this 8 verse of mind training is primarily to crush our ego and to build our self-confidence. Keeping this in mind, let's read this together. 8 verses for training the mind by Venerable Geshe Dorji Damdul. With the determination to achieve the highest aim for the benefit of all sentient beings, which surpasses even the wishful gem, may I hold them dear at all times. Whenever I interact with someone, may I view myself as a little someone's soul, and from the very depths of my heart, respectfully hold others to superior. For all my days, may I probe into my mind, and as soon as mental and emotional afflictions arise, as they endanger myself and others, may I strongly confront them and avert them. When I see beings of unpleasant character and those oppressed by strong negativity and suffering, may I hold them dear for their right to find as when others out of jealousy, treated wrong with abuse, slander, and scorn, may I take upon myself the defeat and offer to others the victory. When someone whom I've helped or in whom I've placed great hopes makes to extreme for hurtful ways, may I regard him still as my precious teacher. Embrace, may I offer benefit and joy to all my mothers, both directly and indirectly, may I quietly take upon myself all hurts and pains of my mothers. May all these remain undefiled by the stains of the 8 mundane concerns, and may I recognize all things as illusions, the word of clinging be released from bondage. From my 2 collections, this vast space that I've amassed, from working with effort, this practice for great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom are planted by ignorance. Okay, 7 in practice. Yes, we'll say, and then this is a self-explanatory. As we read this, let us make sure that the meanings are reflected. It involves making prostrations, making offerings, the confessing negativities, then the rejoicing the virtues of others, the requesting for teachings, the requesting that the Bodhisattvas stay with the being still, the samsara ends, and dedicating virtues properly for the benefit, for the flourishing of the Buddha Dharma, for the well-being of all the sentient beings. So it means of self-explanatory. Make sure that meanings are reflected. Only when the meanings are reflected, then the transformation takes place, purification happens, accumulation merit happens. I bow down to the useful Arya Manjushri, you the Buddhas, the lions amongst humans, God of freedom in the present, past, and future, and the worlds of 10 directions. To all of you with body, speech, and sincere mind, I bow down, with the energy or aspiration for the Bodhisattva way. Since deep respect and with as many bodies as atoms in the world, to all you Buddhas visualize as real, I bow down. On every particle of Buddha's numberless as particles, each of them is a host of Bodhisattvas, and I'm confident the spirit of all phenomena is entirely filled with the Buddhas in this way. With infinite oceans of praise for you and oceans of sound from the my voice, I sing the breathtaking excellence of Buddhas and celebrate all of you Sugathas. Beautiful flowers and regal garlands, sweet music, scented walls and parasols, sparkling lights and sublime incense, I offer to the tourist ones, the Buddhas. Fine dress and the fragrant perfumes, scented with powder, heaped high as Mount Meru, all one is offering in spectacular array, offered to you the tourist ones. With transcendental offerings, peerless and vast, with profound admiration for all the Buddhas, with strength of conviction in the Bodhisattva way, offer and bow down to all victorious ones. Every harmful action I've done with my body, speech, and mind, all run by attachment, anger, and ignorance, all these are openly laid before you. I lift my heart to rejoice in all the merits of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas in 10 directions, of solitary realizers here still training, and those gone beyond of all ordinary beings. You who are the bright lights of the world in 10 directions, who have attained the Buddha's omniscience through the seas of awakening, all you are my guides. Please turn the supreme rule of Dharma. With palms together, I earnestly request you who may actualize parinirvana, please keep with us for eons number as the atoms of the world, for the happiness and well-being of all wanderers in samsara. Whatever slight merit I may have accumulated by making prostrations, offering and confessing, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddha's daily teach, I now dedicate all this for the full awakening of all beings. Okay, short mental offering. Thank you. Okay, so just imagine, visualize that all the good things that you can think of in this universe, what you have, what you don't have, what the world has, what the universe has, all these are visualized and that you're offering to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And so for you to accumulate merit so that that you can cruise through this journey or traverse along this path of enlightenment very smoothly and effectively. This ground adorned with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha festival over it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. O Sajid The 4 Dhammas of Venerable Gambapa, may be blessed their mind. The mind is directed towards the, may be blessed the mind Dharma practices on the proper path, may be blessed that the path is free of flaws, and may be blessed that the flaws are seen in life exalted wisdom. The 4 Dhammas of Venerable Bhikshu Mahasattva, becoming utterly frustrated with the ignorance that grasps at true existence, please bless me with genuine renunciation, seeing all aspects of samsara as the vicious and repulsive. Please bless me that my mind overflows with the precious bodhicitta that cherishes others more than myself. Please bless me to have an immaculate experience of the wisdom of emptiness that doesn't see even an atom of intrinsic reality on the basis of understanding how things come into being by dependent origination through mere conditioning. Please bless me that my mind stream overflows with the precious wisdom of the non-duality bliss and emptiness. Edam Guru Radha Mende Lagam Nirateyami. A foundation of all good qualities, which is the roadmap to attaining enlightenment by Lama Tsongkhapa. Okay, so again, let us make sure that the meanings are reflected, and to the best you can, that whatever little experience that you have be invoked. The foundation of all good qualities is a kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once, is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly day and night takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as water bubbles. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After that, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of virtuous and non-virtuous karmas follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativity and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable. Seeking them is a door to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss of liberation. That by the spirit of thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great caution arise. The root of the teaching is keeping the Pratimosha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I have fallen into the sea of samsara, Bodhicitta, and bear the responsibility of freeing my greater beings. Even if I develop Bodhicitta, but I don't practice the 3 types of morality, I will not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the Bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I pacify distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyze the meaning of reality, please bless me to chant with clarity within the mind stream, the unified path of come abiding space inside. Having become a pure vessel by training the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gate of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the 2 attainments is keeping pure vows in Samaya. As I become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pleasures in my life. Then, having realized the importance of the 2 stages, as from Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, Please let me realize the teachings of Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who showed the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice with their long lives, please let me pass away completely, all out in any hindrances. In all my life, never separated from perfect Gurus. By completing the qualities of the stations in the past, I could attain the state of Vajratara. Okay, we'll recite this mantra, first the English, followed by Tibetan. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-referential compassion, a Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroyed hosts of demons without exception. Sanghapa, crown jewel of the stages of the land with snows, Sanghapa, at your feet, I make prostrations. The Tibetan. We skip the third line to accord with the melody. English again. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-referential compassion, and Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroys hosts of demons without exception. Sanghapa, crown jewel of the stages where the snows, blossom top by your feet and make prostrations. Okay, next, before we take the Aspirational Bodhisattva vow, we engage in the 4 practices. The first one is taking refuge. Number 2 is, the first one is the single point of meditation. Number 2 is renunciation. Number 3 is Bodhichitta. And number 4, the wisdom of emptiness. And then we take the Aspirational Bodhisattva vow. So for this, the single point of meditation, and given that I can see that most of you are from the Nalanda Master's course or Nalanda Diploma course, you know the meditation. So for this matter, we will do 5 minutes of breathing meditation or whatever meditation you're doing, single point of meditation. I will do for 5 minutes. And the most important thing for all of us to remember is the 2 folds. Position-wise, sitting, the body upright should be so important and eyes not closed. These 2 are the 2 most important things. And then for the form, so identifying the areas of meditation, this is so important to keep an eye on your mind to see if you fall prey to mental laxity, or mental excitement. And should any of these problems arise with you, you must no need to worry. Simply move to meaning. Simply seek the help of the remedies, mindfulness, and introspection. Okay, I'm not going to go into detail. Ready? 5 minutes. Okay, thank you. Next, renunciation. We'll do this on the basis of the four fields. Are you ready? Renunciation. Renunciation is to renounce our miseries. To renounce the miseries, we need to know how to renounce the causes of the miseries, which the Buddha very clearly indicated. Ye dharma hetu prabhava. All phenomena arise from the causes. Hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat. What the causes are is indicated by the Tathagata, the Buddha. So we need to know what the causes are and remedy the causes. So to remedy the causes, as for the causes, Buddha identified the four misconceptions. Misconceiving the impermanent phenomena as permanent, misery as happiness, impure as pure, and what is selfless nature as self-hurt. And we remedy this form, and all the offshoots of the ignorance will ultimately come to an end. Your miseries come to an end. This is how we attain nirvana. And that if that is complemented by the bodhicitta, then this will not only the remedy, the afflictive obscuration, they remove the counter obscuration, thereby maybe attain full enlightenment, infinite happiness for the benefit of sentient being. For this, the first, all composite things impermanent. Composite phenomena, referring to the phenomena which are composed of material parts and the temporal parts. So whatever is composed of the material parts and temporal parts should necessarily be impermanent. Impermanent, which is of two kinds, gross and subtle, is so important for us to reflect on the gross impermanence. This will take us to reflect on the subtle impermanence. So this will give us a sense of urgency. The initial trigger will be the reflection of the gross impermanence. The gross impermanence, the impermanent phenomena whose continuum comes to an end. For example, our youth comes to an end as we grow older. And the Buddha indicated, whatever gathers will disperse, for example, the family members. In my case, my mom, till I was 4 or 5, my mom was with me, and then was separated. We came together, separated, and Dad, in my 30s, he left the world. So this is like being in a train, where you got on the train, you see that someone's already there. Your parents, the train of life, your parents are there. And then after you, new passengers come, your siblings. In the other compartments, there are other people coming, going. Then after a while, your parents, it is their time for them to get off the train, they get off. And then it is you're continuously growing, you're continuously reaching more and more different places. And then from the other compartments, there are many people, more passengers come, more passengers leave without your knowledge. This is what has happened to the world. This is impermanent. One time is going to be your time to leave this, to get off the train, and that your children come as parents, and you leave this world, you leave the train to say bye-bye. This is the train of the life. This is impermanent. Yes, it is very painful to see that your near and dear ones are leaving you, and one day you have to leave the world. This is impermanent. This is what the Buddha indicated as whatever gathers, disperses, whatever is accumulated ends in exhaustion, whatever stands for, whatever is born will die. This is reality impermanent. 200 years ago, people of your age, younger than you, older than you, parents have so much expectation from the children, and children having dreams of their career. Today, where are these people? 200 years ago, perhaps 4 billion or 5 billion human beings on this earth. Today, it hits 8 billion human beings. But where are those 4 or 5 billion human beings today? Not even a single person is left today. And amongst them, no doubt, your great parents were there. Do you remember them? No, forget about remembering. We even don't know their names. What kind of people were there? What kind of ancestors? Your great parents. But no clue. This is exactly what is happening after 200 years. Not even a single 8 billion human beings today will be survived then. Only a few people will be remembered, like 2,500 years ago. Bodhisattva is remembered today. And Lord Jesus Christ is remembered. And the Lord Mahavir is remembered. Ram is remembered. Then the Prophet Muhammad is remembered. Jesus Christ is remembered. Then the Baha'u'llah is remembered. Zoroaster is remembered. So like this, we see that, and the Guru Nanak is remembered. There are only few people remembered. Otherwise, there are all those people, generation after generation after generation, like billions of billions of people were there. They all gone. This is impermanent. In fact, overnight, the whole village can be washed away. Whole town disappears. It happens. This is impermanent. Yes, it's very scary to think of. It's very painful to think of this impermanence. Yes, this is how our time, our life passes by. And for all these gross impermanence, these are possible only if there's a subtle impermanence, which is momentariness involved. Only if there's a change happening on the yearly basis, the change that you see over the span of 20, 30, 40, 100 years is possible. And the change that you see in the yearly basis is possible only if there's a change happening on monthly basis, weekly basis, daily basis, hourly basis, minute by minute basis, second by second basis, millisecond by millisecond basis. Okay, so all composite phenomena should necessarily undergo change millisecond by millisecond basis, be it your body, your mind, yourself, your house, your near and dear one. The whole world is moving at such a pace of the momentariness. Millisecond by millisecond, they are moving so fast. It's very scary. Imagine that you're thrown in a very fast-moving train. What is your feeling? So much of fear. Faster train moves, more fear. Why? Because we don't know where this train is taking us. And who decides where this train is taking us? The train driver. If the train driver is a mother and father, no doubt they'll take you to a big spot. But if it happens to be the terrorists or under the dictates of terrorists, no doubt they'll take us to the slaughterhouse. In that case, the driver is a mind, and the mind is under the dictate of the worst of the contaminations, which is self-grasping ignorance. And this self-grasping ignorance complemented by the self-centered attitude. So as long as we are under the dictate of the worst of the contaminations, it will only take us to misery. This is what the Buddha indicated as all contaminated things are suffering nature. What kind of suffering? Given that the contaminations, as long as we are under the sway of the contaminations, self-grasping ignorance, it will give rise to 3 kinds of karmas: contaminated virtuous karmas, contaminated non-virtuous karmas, and the contaminated neutral karmas. And the contaminated non-virtuous karmas, they give rise to misery in the form of the suffering, which is so evidently painful. Losing the near and dear ones is acutely painful. One moment of such a tragedy is good enough to nullify all the past moments of merriment, festivities, celebrations, and so forth, birthday parties, picnics, and so forth. That's very true. This is all the result of contamination in the form of the non-virtuous karma. And the next is the contaminated virtues. They give rise to the mundane happiness. And this, the acute pain. They're so acute. Why do we have to live in this acute pain? The life after life, life after life. What traps us there? What puts us there? Only mundane happiness. This is the bait which puts us there in this realm, and then we sucked up into the suffering, acute pain. So it's the lure of the mundane happiness. And yes, so what defines this mundane happiness? What masterminds this mundane happiness? Yes, the pervasive conditioned suffering, which is the neutral feeling of the ignorance, which is perpetuated by the neutral feeling. So that are the seeing things as objective real and giving rise to containment comes afflictions. That is the mastermind of all these bait-like the mundane happiness, which makes us glued to the samsara. In the process, we go through all the acutely, the unimaginably painful experiences. Yes, it's so painful. This is where we have to live in fears of the endlessly numerous fears, life after life, life after life, perpetuating all the time. Yes, that's very true. Now I realize it. Is there a way out? Yes, of course there's a way out, but it will never come to an end on its own. It will come to an end only if we bring an end to the cause, the contamination. How to bring an end to this contamination? This contamination, the root of which is the self-grasping ignorance. We need to get rid of this ignorance. How to do that? By introducing a very powerful remedy. What is that? The non-dual wisdom of the wisdom of emptiness of the Arya Bodhisattva. So, what is that like? That wisdom, defines a discerning as a discerning mind whose apprehension tells with reality. What's reality? The reality is what the Buddha indicated as a third seal. Everything is nature, emptiness, selflessness. Okay, let us quickly meditate emptiness today of the self, yourself. Okay, so we'll do this meditation emptiness on the basis of the four essentials. First, don't worry if you're not aware of what the four essentials are. Don't worry. I'm going to explain them in simple terms and technical terms both. Which are first, just think of yourself. What are you doing? I'm meditating. And what is this? Your body doing? My body's in a meditative state. Okay, how does this person who you identify as the self appear? How does it appear to you? Oh, he or she appears as so objectively real. Not like a dream, nothing to do with my mind projecting it. It's just so objective from its own side. This belief is the self-grasping ignorance. How do you know that this ignorance and this not a valid mind? Yes, if the self who you identify as I were to exist subjectively, remember what Arjuna said, if the mirage were to be water, one of those who's but the mirage see water. And a similar token of the reasoning, if the self would exist subjectively, why do I see the self as I grow closer to object? Okay, now let us go closer to this object. Going through close to object is what is technically referred to as the subjective analysis, the ultimate analysis. Okay, now let's subject this self to ultimate analysis by going closer to it. By doing so, let's just ignore all those things which are not the self, because you are only interested to see how the self appear, whether or not the self exists as objectively real the way he or she appears. Okay. When closer to the object, we first see the very thin layers of skin, behind the fatty tissues, behind that the muscles, the cartilages, the flesh, alongside the whole skeleton, and alongside the heart, the lungs, the liver, the spleen, the pancreas, stomach, intestine, gallbladder. This solid parts constitute the element of earth. None of the elements of earth is the self. Yes. What next? The element of fire, element of water, 4 liters of blood, which is pumped in and out by the heart to different parts of the body. Of course, that is not me. Element of fire, 2,600 joules of energy that my body has, body heat. Of course, that is not me. Element of air, 4.6 liters of air that you breathe in and out through your lungs. Of course, that is not named element space. 99.99% of the body space, that space between the electrons and the nucleus of the atom is so massive as compared to the size of electrons and the neutrons, protons. So from this, but the space does not mean I'm a solid person, the space vacuum in nature, the space does not mean. What is left now? Element of consciousness or the element of mind. I'm a male, I'm a female, but my mind doesn't have a gender. Gender is positive on the basis of the body, and also that people can see me, people can see my mind. From this, we see that element of mind or the element of consciousness also not me. Okay, so now of the 6 elements which you are seeing with the subjective ultimate analysis, tell me which of the 6 elements is the self. None of the 6 elements is the self. Okay, if you are aware of this, this is what is technically referred to as the second essential. Essential one is to understand the emptiness of the objects being intrinsically one with its parts. Okay, that's true. These elements, these 6 elements which form as the parts of the self, they're not identified as intrinsically one with this part, with this self. Okay. Then if the self, still if you believe the self is object real, knowing that none of the 6 elements are identified as intrinsically one with itself, then see if the self exists intrinsically different from these 6 elements or the parts. To remove all 6 elements, what is left now? Nothing is left there as a self. If you are sure of this, remove the 6 elements, nothing is left as a self. This is what is technically referred to as the third essential of identifying the emptiness of the essential of understanding, the emptiness of the objects being the intrinsically different from its parts. Okay, now that you have rejected both the possibilities for the self to exist objectively, the two possibilities that either self is intrinsically one with the past or intrinsically different from the past, both are ruled out. So ruling of the ruling of the two possibilities for the self to exist objectively entails that the self cannot possibly exist subjectively. Yes, I'm aware of this. If you're aware of this, this is what entails the fourth essential understanding, the pervasion, that anything which is empty of being one with, empty of intrinsically one with, and empty of being intrinsically different from its path, entails the emptiness of the objective existence of the person. Okay, so with this now, what is the, now so after this ultimate analysis, what do you see? I see that they're just 6 elements. What's the self? Self was no way to be seen from the object. Are you sure? Yes. Is this the mental fabrication? This is what you are discovering? Yes, of course I'm discovering this. That from the object there's nothing to be identified as a self. If you're very sure of this, in this experience, wow, that's amazing, very profound meditation. But what's the benefit of this? Is this true? Just as the self, when subject to ultimate analysis, we come to discover that it doesn't really exist objectively there. This discovery instantly gives us a feeling of tinge of fear, tinge of a ticking sensation in the body, cold rays flowing through your skin, or a very extremely profound, tranquil feeling just at the core of your heart, or a very serene experience, a great serenity experience. If any of these experiences comes to you, you are very fortunate. This is the indication that you're on the proper track. But if it doesn't happen, don't worry. We need to go. It simply is an indication to us that we need to go for further studies, reflection, and meditation on emptiness. Okay. So the benefit is that just as this self dissolves in this experience, all our sorrows, all our miseries, all the tears that we shed in samsara, because of all the pains that we go through, if we subject them to ultimate analysis, the way we subjected the self to the ultimate analysis, all the sorrows will also dissolve. will come to discover that they are just like a dream. Okay, they're all empty. Okay, imagine that in this experience of emptiness, all your sorrows are transcended, dissolved. This is what is meant by transcending sorrow, is absolute peace. Where the sorrow dissolves, where the mental disturbance dissolves, the very profound peace is restored within you. A peace, absolute peace, extremely pure peace dawns in you. Just generate a very strong desire or aspiration. May I experience this emptiness with total conviction and confidence, to embody in this emptiness where all my sorrows dissolve and transcended. Wow, this aspiration is the final understanding of what is renunciation. Since experience of renunciation for a while. Okay, slowly come out of this meditation or the renunciation. Let's take a few seconds before we move to the next Bodhichitta practice. Okay, ready? Ready? Bodhichitta? Okay. For the Bodhichitta, we'll do it on the basis of the four measurables. And then in the end, we will conclude with the Bodhichitta aspiration, and followed by emptiness and taking us to Bodhichitta vow. Okay, ready? For the Bodhichitta, this is an incredibly beautiful journey. And in fact, we can with great assurance say that since time immemorial, most likely we have never undertaken this journey of the Bodhichitta practice, let alone taking the journey to practice of Bodhichitta. Even the word Bodhichitta, most likely we have not heard. Just imagine, 8 billion human beings are there on this earth. How many of them heard the word Bodhichitta? And let alone all these trillions and trillions and trillions of creatures on this earth. Even the human beings, 8 billion human beings, hardly like 100 or hardly like, hardly like, let's say, the 50 million the human beings have heard this word Bodhichitta. And how many actually practice this? Hardly 1 million. And the real practice, hardly a few thousand. It's very rare. So from this point of view, we are very fortunate. So because of this, this must be a very important journey, and they require so much of merit and support. Mental support. The greatest support is the Buddhist Bodhisattvas that has reinforced the visualization of the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, that they ensure us that our journey of Bodhichitta is swift, and that we continue the next life as well to Buddhahood. Also, let us reinforce the visualization of two parents, your children, all family members, all the imagination beings. It's for them that we journey to Bodhichitta. So with this mind, immeasurable loving kindness. Given that this practice, for some of us, it may seem so superficial, it may not resonate with your natural thinking, natural thinking, which is so much tuned with the self-centered attitude. It may not resonate with that. It doesn't matter. When we practice music, initially we mimic what it does, which keys to press. We mimic the teachers. So there's no music there. We're mimicking, still there's no music there. It's only through mimicking that eventually it becomes real music. This is the only way by which we can actually expect to have the Bodhichitta generated within you. So with this mind, first, immeasurable loving kindness. And try your best to mimic, try your best to invoke this experience the best you can. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are endowed with happiness, and the causes of happiness, primarily consisting of the most beautiful mind of Bodhichitta and the most fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness. May Almighty Mother Sentient Being be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The Buddha's Bodhisattva is witnessing that you make such a courageous commitment that the mother, after all these many years of hardship, today, you as a little girl, age 12, and you as a little boy, age 11, come to the mother, tell the mother, mother, please take rest. Now we are grown up, we'll take us all off the plane. You've done everything for us. And we love you so much. You've been extremely loving and caring towards us. The mother couldn't believe her eyes after all these many years of hardship, raising her children, and today she couldn't believe her eyes. She felt so proud and happy over you. This is exactly what is happening to all Buddhist Bodhisattvas. They're so proud and happy. The happiness and pride all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas feel invoke the compassion of omniscient mind to sense of nectar of reciting light towards you and all demonstration beings. The mere touch of light nectar with the body spins yours, instills in all happiness and causes happiness within the minds of sentient beings in yourself. And you witnessing such a miraculous happening towards all of demonstration beings. You are intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths down with release. Next, next for compassion. How good would it be that all my demonstration beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering? May all my demonstration beings be freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. The cause of suffering primarily consists of self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude and the offshoots in the form of contaminant karmas and afflictions. I'll take responsibility that all my demonstration beings are free from suffering and the cause of suffering. The Buddhist Bodhisattva is witnessing that you make such a courageous commitment, the intense happiness and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke the compassion of omniscient minds, the sense of nectar which suitabilize towards you and all demonstration beings. The mere touch of light and nectar with the body speaks yours. Washes all the miseries and causes miseries from yourself and from all demonstration beings' minds. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening towards all the demonstration beings. You are intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths out with relief. Immeasurable loving kindness, immeasurable joy. How good would it be that all my demonstration beings are never separated from happiness and the cause of happiness that they're endowed with. May all my dear Mother Sentient beings never be separated from happiness and the cause of happiness that they're endowed with. I'll take the responsibility that all my demonstration beings are never separated from happiness and the cause of happiness that they're endowed with. The Buddhist Bodhisattva is witnessing that you are making such a courageous commitment, the intense happiness proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke the compassion of omniscient minds to send for nectar the reciting light towards you and all demonstration beings. The mere touch of light nectar with the body is yours. Stabilizes happiness and the cause of happiness with beings are endowed with and yourselves are endowed with. And you witnessing such a miraculous happiness towards all the demonstration beings. You are intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, found the relief. Next, immeasurable equanimity. How good would it be that all my demonstration beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to a son and aversion towards others, and instead abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other demonstration beings with total love and affection, leaving none aside. May all my dear Mother Sentient beings be freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to some and aversion towards others. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear Mother Sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to some and aversion towards others. The Buddhist Bodhisattva is witnessing that you make such a courageous commitment, the intense happiness proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke the compassionate omniscient mind to sense of nexus with Sutra knowledge towards your ultimate sentient beings. The mere touch of life and nexus with the bodies of yours and all the ultimate sentient beings frees the beings from the biased attitude of excessive attachment with some and aversion with others, and instead making them abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other sentient beings with equal love and affection, even unaside. And you witnessing such miraculous happiness towards all of the sentient beings, you are intense happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sound the release. Abiding all, they underscore all the 4 immeasurables is unconditional love towards all the beings. Just abiding the experience of unconditional love, where you are that reassure all the sentient beings, have no fear, I'm there, I'll take care of you. It's amazing. Just abiding the most beautiful mind of the unconditional love towards all the beings. Okay, with folded hands, let us make a Bodhichitta commitment 3 times together, wholeheartedly. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear Mother Sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear Mother Sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear Mother Sentient beings. Amazing. This is the most beautiful mind, most appealing mind that exists in this whole universe. And today you generated this. Slowly transform this beautiful mind of Bodhicitta into a spotlessly clean moon disk, horizontally sitting at the heart. Wow, that's amazing. But how come that you can become a Buddha? You know that no matter how much you squeeze a handful of sand, no oil comes out of that. Yes, I know that. I have a Buddha nature with me. I'm not like a handful of sunflower. I'm not like a handful of sand. Instead, I'm like a handful of sunflower seeds, squeezing which oil does come out. I have the Buddha nature within me. But how come that is not activated? That is not manifested as full-fledged Buddhahood since time moment till now? Yes, that's very true. It's all because that I'm being deceived by the 2 demons of grasping ignorance of sense attitude till now. Today I'm disillusioned by these 2. Henceforth, I will do everything to exterminate these 2 demons from me. What will you do? I'll introduce a very powerful remedy. What is that? A non-dual wisdom of emptiness of the Arya Bodhisattva. What is that like? Okay, let's quickly retrieve the experience of the wisdom of emptiness, which we meditated as the 3rd seal, as part of the 4 seals. You know what I'm doing? I'm meditating. And how does this person who identifies as self appear to you? Like a dream that your mind is projecting it, or as so independently from your mind, as object real? Of course, this object real. This belief is the self-grasping ignorance. This root of all the misery. Okay, how do you know that this is ignorance? Yes. Remember what Arjuna said. If the sun would exist subjectively, and remember what Arjuna said. If the mirage would be water, or not those close, but the mirage see water. If the sun would exist subjectively, why don't I see this object, this self, as I go close to the object? Okay. Now let's quickly subject this self to ultimate analysis. You have seen the 6 elements. Okay, where is the self? Now, you have to come too close to object. If the self does exist objectively, it should be visible now. Where is the self? Nowhere to be seen. I'm discovering that it's not really there from the object. It's totally empty, dissolved. Stay in this experience for a while. slowly transform this wisdom of emptiness, the most fearless mind in this universe, into a spotless clean, thumb-sized white vajra, vertically sitting in the moon of the heart. Okay. Wow, that's amazing. Now I've non-dual bodhicittas, the two bodhicittas in a non-dual form. The moon, symbolic of the ultimate, the conventional bodhicitta, which is altruism to become altruism, wishing to become Buddha for the potential being. This guarantees that you will get rid of self-centered attitude. And Vajra is symbolic of the ultimate bodhicitta, which is non-dual wisdom of emptiness of the Arya Bodhisattvas. This will guarantee that all your mental defilements, be it reflective obscurations or the cognitive obscurations, will become rid of. Wow. This guarantees that you will attain the total fearlessness by removing the affective obscurations, thereby attaining nirvana, and removing the cognitive obscurations, attaining infinite happiness to produce Buddhahood. Oh, that's amazing. Let's not forget that your two parents are there, your children are there, all your family members are there, all your dear children are there. They're suffering terribly. Yes, I'm so very aware of. Generate very strong compassion towards all the beings. There's strong compassion which you generate now for all the dimensional beings. Invoke the Vajramuni at your heart to multiply infinite number of times. And share one set of Vajramuni with your mother at her heart, one set of Vajramuni with your father at his heart, one set of Vajramuni with each one of your children at their heart, one with each one of the family members, one with each one of the amount of sentient beings in your country, in the world, all the innumerable, the trillions of the creatures in the ocean, with every one of the trillions of creatures in the wilderness, with all the dimension beings in the entire world, the Milky Way galaxy, and the entire universe. Wow, that's amazing. Now all the dimensions being leaving aside, everyone has to share of the Vajramuni moon at their hearts to guarantee that they will also attain the ultimate, the total state of total fearlessness and infinite happiness around Buddhahood. Yes. Wow, I'm so happy today. Let's not forget, let's remember that Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they're watching us. Why not we invite all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas on this day when His Holiness the Dalai Lama is awarded the Nobel Peace Prize as a recognition of the victory of the virtues on this earth. On this day, all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they're watching us. Why not we invite them as our guests, as the witness to our undertaking day, and the ceremony of taking the Aspirational Bodhisattva vow today, on this very sacred day. I suggest we're making this request to all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, along with all German sentient beings, that will slowly stand up to make 3 prostrations. And all of you online, if you have an altar there, or even if you don't have an altar, it doesn't matter. If your knees are okay, you can stand up to make 3 prostrations. Imagine that all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas are with you. Okay, if it's okay for you, then you can sit on your right knee if it's comfortable. if there's a possibility for you to sit on right knees, then let us all sit on our right knees for taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. And also aware, because it will take a little time, so we begin with sitting on the right knees, and in between, if you start to feel the pain, then you feel free to sit in the most comfortable way. Okay. With this in mind, this is my last screen sharing. Okay, so this is taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow, and the commitment, there's no special commitment at all. If at all you want to feel or you want to have some commitment, and it's that from today onwards, I'll try my best to always render some service to other people, or in other words, help others. If not, at least I'll not harm others. So this much you can make commitment. Once in a while, of course, you can become angry and so forth, but deep inside, we should be mindful that I should not hold grudge and have some kind of resistance and feeling resentful towards others. Never should that be the case. If this much is going to take commitment, we're entitled to take the session Bodhisattva vow. Also, meanwhile, remember that although there's this action Bodhisattva vow, but you don't, and what I'm doing here with you is like a spiritual brother and sister. It's not as a guru and a student. That you have to keep in mind. Because this is something which anybody can take at any time. It's not necessary that you should be it may not necessarily that you should be Buddha. You should be a Buddhist. Not necessary. So with this in mind, just visual, because that is a very important journey, greatest of the meaning that you can possibly think of, the same in your whole life and infinite lifetimes. This is the greatest of the meaning, greatest of the journey. Because this is a very important journey, we require a great support and inspiration blessings. And the greatest of blessings in the journey the blessings that we can think of is the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. So the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, we all invited them as our guests and as our witness. Just visualize them wholeheartedly, that they're so loving, caring. Imagine that you are a little girl, age 5, or a little boy, age 5. For the first time in your life, you're making public appearance on behalf of your school, and your parents are so proud of you that for whatever work they have for that day, they leave that behind to join the audience, waving their hands to you, saying that we are here, we are so proud of you. This is exactly what is happening to all Buddhist Bodhisattvas. They're feeling so proud of you today on the very sacred day that His Holiness the Dalai Lama was offered the Nobel Peace Prize. The Buddhist Bodhisattvas are so proud of what you're doing today. And you, as a very responsible young little girl and little boy, you bring with you all your siblings to take part in this program. This is exactly what you're doing, to bring all the German sentient beings, like your small siblings, to take part in this, taking the ceremony of taking the aspiration Bodhisattva together. So, now with this in mind, the first verse, we're going to say this 3 times, followed by the next 2 verses. The first, we need to remember the meaning. Meaning, the whole point. Okay, if you start to feel pain, please sit comfortably. This pain should not hamper your reflection. I find this ceremony is mainly related to how you think. It's the thinking wise. If you cannot think because of the pain, then the benefit will be less. So please make sure that if you start to feel the pain, sit in the most comfortable position. Okay, thinking should not be compromised. So the verse, I'm going to explain the meaning, because the meaning must be reflected. For this journey of enlightenment, awakening your Buddha nature inside, you need a great support that you can think of is a triple gem. So the first line says, I'll go for refuge to triple gem. And then this journey involves the road. The road must not be blocked by the boulders, the trees, and so forth. So the road is none other than your own mind. This mind must not be blocked by the negativities. So how to remove the negativities is by The best way by which to do so is confess the negativities. Second one says, confess the negativities individually. Now the road is clear, but if the car doesn't have fuel, enough fuel, then again you cannot answer the journey. The car should have enough fuel. This car is none other than your own mind. This mind should have the enough fuel of the merit accumulation, and the virtues. So the best way by which to accumulate so much virtuous merit within a short span of time is by rejoicing the virtues of all the beings. Third line says, okay, can you hear me? Okay. So Sonamla is saving us here. Sonam, thank you so much for saving us. Okay. So now that the road is clear, the journey of enlightenment road is clear, and the car has enough fuel, what kind of journey are you going to undertake? The journey of the most important journey, the most precious journey, the most meaningful journey of Buddhahood. The fourth line says, I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. Okay, with this mind, let us say it's wholehearted 3 times. Imagine all sentiments with you, and all Buddhas Bodhisattvas are witnessing us. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. And the next 2 verses, the main ceremony of taking the Aspirational Bodhisattva vow. So by invoking Gurus, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas to pay heed to you, the first verse is that they who on the earth succeeded in benefit all the beings. You look at the history of humanity, we see that the Buddha Shakyamuni succeeded there 2,500 years ago. And how did he succeed it? The one person, all up to 2,500 years past, still so many human beings, the non-human beings, they have been constantly benefited by his teachings. So how did he succeed? So number 1, he generated very strong bodhicitta, the motivation of the bodhicitta, and then to materialize the aspiration of the bodhicitta, engage in bodhisattva practices like the 6 professions, 10 professions, so forth. So if this is how he succeeded, I will also follow his footsteps by engaging these 2 factors. First, by generating very powerful motivation bodhicitta, and number 2, by engaging to materialize this aspiration bodhicitta, or engage in bodhisattva practices like 6 professions, 10 professions, so forth. And when the completion of the 3rd repetition, feel an intense joy of having received the aspiration bodhisattva vow. Okay, together. Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, okay, Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be here to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the amount of Bodhicitta, I just as successfully joined the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will join the amount of Bodhicitta, and I shall to successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay to him. Please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhicitta, and just as a successful dwelling the Bodhisattva practices, by words for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of Bodhicitta, and otherwise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be here to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhicitta, and just as a successful dwelling the Bodhisattva practices, by words for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of Bodhicitta. Otherwise, shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Feel the joy over here, which is actually Bodhisattva now. We are very fortunate indeed, extremely fortunate. I'm extremely fortunate. It is like the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they're so proud of you. It is like the mother, after all these many years of receiving complaints from the school of the little girl, of the little son, the little daughter, about the misbehaviors. The school principal again approaching the mother. Again, the mother becomes so apprehensive. What happened? What more complaints? Today, the principal is very different, escorted by the school teachers, that congratulating the mother. What for? Your son and your daughter, two of them are appointed as the best students of the school for this year. Mother could not believe her eyes and ears. She's so happy, proud after all these many years of receiving complaints. And today, for the first time, she's hearing something so pleasant. This is exactly what is happening to all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. And today, they feel so proud and happy over you having taken that Aspirational Bodhisattva vow, that since time immemorial till now, they've been hearing, they've been seeing, and they've been feeling so sad over our misbehaviors. While they wish happiness for you, you want happiness, but we always engage in the non-virtues that we suffer endlessly, and that makes the Buddhist Bodhisattva so sad. And today we did something so like a miracle, magic, that they feel so proud of you. This part happens that they feel, invoke the Vajramon at their hearts in the full-fledged form, and they to multiply infinite number of times. Like rain shower, these innumerable Vajramon, they said to merge with the one that visualize every heart, thereby becoming non-dual, stabilized, and blessed of the Vajramon that visualize your heart. Likewise, the innumerable Vajramon from the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they just merge with the one that merge with the Vajramon that visualize the heart of your mother, and the heart of your father, and the heart of each one of the children, each one of the family members, each one of the sentient beings in the planet Earth, all the creatures in the ocean, all the creatures in the wilderness, in the world, in the Milky Way galaxy, in the entire universe, thereby becoming non-dual, stabilized, and the blessed of the Vajramon that we have shared with all the sentient beings. That's amazing. This is amazing. Imagine a gift that you can give somebody with huge amount of money, with huge opportunities and so forth, but there's no better gift than you gifting them with your generating Bodhichitta for them. And today you have gifted the Bodhichitta by generating to yourself, the non-dual Bodhichitta yourself for the benefit of all generations and beings. And of all the offerings, this is the best offerings to all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. The Buddha himself made a proclamation that the offering of the one moment of the generating compassion that far excels the offering of the whole universe filled with the gems of all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. If this were the case, what I mentioned of you having taken the Aspirational Bodhisattva today, collectively with all of us, is amazing. And today you made this offering to all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas on this sacred day, that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the Son and the Buddha of the world today, is awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in recognition of the victory of the virtues. It's amazing. And imagine that you led your life since time immemorial till now. What meaning have you extracted? Nothing. We only extracted tears and tears of fears all the time. And today what you did is greatest meaning. and the meaning of life. And today you have given such meaning to yourself, to your life, and expected such a meaning of your life. That's amazing. And all these wonders are happening, all because of the blessings of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. As a gesture of thanking them, along with all the sentient beings, again we send to make 3 prostrations for all the to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Okay, this is my next page. Okay, so we are very fortunate that today we have generated Vedic Aspirational Bodhisattva file. We are extremely fortunate. Yes, in this life we got this opportunity on such an auspicious day. What about next life? We're not too sure. So how to make sure that in the next life we meet with these 2, the most precious teachings and the practice Bodhichitta, wisdom and mentions, in short, the non-dual Bodhicittas. For that, we include this in the form of a very powerful prayer. Let's say this prayer together 3 times wholeheartedly, imagining that all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas there watching us, and your 2 parents, your children, all them, your family members, all them are with you. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the 2 precious Bodhicittas even across my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the 2 precious Bodhicittas even across my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the 2 precious Bodhicittas even across my life. Okay, now this prayer will make it a point that we connect with the 2 teachings, the 2 practices, the Bodhicittas and the future lifetimes. But once you're connected, then how to rigorously engage in this practice? Because so many people are connected with the minor teachings. But how many are very serious? They are not too serious. So unless we are very serious, gade, para, sam gade, bodhisattva cannot happen. Without which we continue to suffer in samsara, with having to shed tears all the time, in so much of pain and agony, anxiety, and so forth, and never experience the infinite happiness. So, it's just the pointless. So now, once you connect with the Dhamma, that we go rigorously engage the practice, that the gade actually happens, and that very soon you experience the infinite happiness by removing the afflictive obscurations and experience the total fearlessness by removing the afflictive obscurations and experience infinite happiness by removing the cognitive obscurations. So, and thereby you'll be able to benefit all the demon sentient beings, your 2 parents, your children, all the family members, and all the demon sentient beings. So for that matter, we need to look for another way by which to make sure that in the future lifetime, that once we connect with the Dhamma, we follow this very rigorously and seriously. So for that matter, we need to connect the joy with the Bodhisattva practice. So the following verses are from the Bodhisattva Shadideva text, guided Bodhisattva of life, to supplement, the reinforce this joy in connection with the Bodhisattva, so that in the future lifetimes we can rigorously engage in the personal practice for all dimensions beings. Okay. In order to further increase this bodhicitta from now on, those with discernment who have elusive peace and awaken a mind of bodhicitta in this way should highly praise it in the following manner. Today my life has borne fruit. Having well obtained this human existence, I've been born in the family of the Buddha and now one of Buddha's children. Thus whatever actions I do from now on must be in accord with the family. Never shall I disgrace or pollute this noble and unsullied race. Just like a blind man discovering a jewel of Hebrew rubbish, likewise by some coincidence an awakened mind has been born within me. It is the supreme ambrosia that overcomes the sovereignty of death. It is the inexhaustible treasure that eliminates all poverty in the world. It is the supreme medicine that quells the world's disease. It is a street that shelters all beings wandering entitled on the path of conditioned existence. It is the universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth. It is the dawning moon of the mind that dispels the torment of the deceptive conceptions. It is the great sun that finally removes the mystic ignorance of the world. It is the quintessential butter from the channel of the middle Dharma. For all those guests traveling on the path of conditioned existence who wish to experience the boundless happiness, this will satisfy them with joy and actually place them in supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all the protectors and let the world to be guests at a festival of temporary and ultimate delight, may gods, demigods, and all be joyful. Okay, Bismillah. Down to derivation Dharanchi and derivation the Moche, the give to Moche, and to discourse one. Okay, so what we do is that now we will do the end prayer. No doubt on this very auspicious day, we have become so much merit by taking us in Bodhisattva vow. And I know that many of you got up so early in the morning, some in the daytime, in the evening, very late in the night, and so forth. I really rejoice in your efforts, your love for Dharma, your love for taking the essential Bodhisattva vow, your Bodhichitta. So with this enormous merit that is accumulated, the virtue that is accumulated, let us pray. Let's dedicate the merits to us, that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth, that he lives long and that his wishes to fulfill spontaneously. And also there is the dedicated merits that gathered, that the Ukraine war ceases altogether as soon as possible, and all the people in Ukraine, all the people in Russia, because of so much of sanctions from other countries, Russian people also suffering, and that everybody will come to go back to the normalcy in their lives, where they can sigh, where they can have a sigh of relief, and that all the unnecessary problems they cease. And let's pray that COVID-19 subsides altogether, and all the people who died to COVID-19 and who died otherwise as well, let's pray that they take a favorable human birth to meet with the Dharma of the Bodhichitta wisdom and emptiness, that each one of them become the beacon of hope and solace for all the dimension beings, like become enlightened. And let's pray that the people who are in hospitals who are sick, they soon recover, and that they meet with their family members, and they can again have the reunion with so much joy and happiness, and to get a new life of Dharma, a new life of Bodhichitta for them. And let's also pray that the teaching of Bodhichitta and the wisdom and emptiness thrive in the minds of all dimension beings. And let me personally dedicate merit that gathered, that each one of you, through a concerted effort, soon see the dawn of the Bodhichitta, the most beautiful mind in this universe, and the fearless mind of the wisdom and emptiness, that these two soon take birth in you, that you become such a reliable guide to lead all the dimensions in these towards ultimate happiness and fearlessness. So with this mind, let us say the following 3 verses of dedication wholeheartedly. I dedicate the merit that gathered towards the realization that is in the prayers of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 3 times, and to the upholding of the doctrine, scripture, and insight, and all lives through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, Bodhicitta, persevering the 2 stages. From my 2 collections, vast of space that I've amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds were blinded by ignorance. Te gate paragate parasamgate bodhiswatyata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhiswatyata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhiswatyata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhiswaha. Okay, thank you all of you. Thank you, Bismillah. Thank you, the IT staff in Tibet House. Thank you, Sonamla here. Thank you, the brother Chingya, and thank you all the participants online, all the participants offline, all of you here. Bye-bye. See you next time.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tibet House.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe.
Everyone.
Thank you, Geshe.
Good to Chichena.